Welcome to our cooking program. My name is Sibilla and my assistant is Jade, and together we're going to share with you some very interesting recipes. We have called our program Creative Vegetarian Cooking, and we do hope that you enjoy the recipes that we've chosen. We have a variety of recipes. What you'll find is recipes that will be suitable for main meals, recipes like salads, and also quite a few recipes with fruit. I'm a great believer in using as much fresh produce as I can. And so we hope that you enjoy the variety that we've chosen for you. The other thing about our recipes, just before we start, is that you'll find them quick and easy. Everyone is busy today, including myself. And so recipes need to be nutritious. They also need to have ingredients that are easy to buy in the supermarkets or in other shops where you go regularly. But they also need to be quick, don't they? And so I hope that all of that together will be menus that you'll be able to use at home for your family. The recipe that we're going to start with today is a stir fry with savoury sauce. And this stir fry is just a little different to the traditional stir fries. We're going to make a savoury sauce first, then we're going to cook some vegetables, stir fry some vegetables, and we're also going to use some rice, and we're going to put some seeds through the rice. So what we will finish up with is a little bed of rice, and we will also have the vegetables to go on the top of that, and then the savoury sauce goes right over the top of that. And I hope that you will enjoy that recipe. And so we're going to get started by just preparing the sauce first. And you just need a saucepan, and the ingredients that we're going to use is some onion, some tomato puree, as well as some plum sauce, some soya sauce, and a product that you may not be familiar with, and that is a vegetable protein product called tender pieces. This is a product that is produced from the protein of grains, which is called gluten. And so for anyone who has a gluten intolerance, then you wouldn't be able to use this product, but you could use tofu. Jade, could you get some tofu out of the fridge for me so that we can show what the tofu looks like? Many people know what tofu is, but there may be some that are not so sure. And so there are various types of vegetable protein foods available, and you can certainly change various ingredients, and that will be so for all of our recipes. You can use tofu. There are tofus that have already been marinated. You see, tofu doesn't have any flavor, and it has quite a soft texture. This is a firm tofu, and so it's one that you can cut into pieces, and that would be perfect to marinate in this sauce. And so if you were using tofu in this recipe, then you wouldn't need to use a marinated tofu, because the sauce will already be the marinade. The tender pieces, in case this is new to you, you can buy these from all supermarkets in the health food section. Usually it's at the top shelf, just to give you a guide. There's quite a variety and a range of these, and this is the one that I'm using today. They are nugget-sized pieces of vegetable protein, and I've sliced those pieces, and this is what it looks like. And so let's get started by putting this onto the stove. We're just going to use a very small amount of olive oil. It's good to use oils instead of solid fats. But the types of oils that are available, there are so many. I prefer to use an olive oil, and the one that I'm using today is extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, and it's an Australian variety. Just recently, we've been told that some of the imported olive oils may not be as fresh as they should be. And so I like to stay with the Australian variety, and that's what I'm using today. And so we're just going to put that into the saucepan, just a very small amount, and we're going to put that onto the stove. You only want to have it on medium heat. And we're going to put the onion in there. When you cook on medium heat, you'll find that the natural juices that are in our foods, and in this case in the onion, they will be released, and that helps the cooking process, and it stops you from having to put too much fat into your saucepan for the food. And so if you would like to stir that, Jade. Thank you very much. That just needs to soften, really. You don't need to brown the onions, just soften them, and you'll find that by then the flavor has developed, and we'll put in the tomato puree and also the other sauces and the tender pieces. Allow that to simmer for about 10 minutes, and while that's simmering, you can then start on your stir-fried vegetables and your rice. I'm using an electric fry pan, but you can use a wok, or you can even use a saucepan on the stove if you need to. You'll notice on the recipe that we are using some oil here too, and the type of oil that I'm going to use for the stir-frying of the vegetables is a sesame oil. And the reason that I'm using sesame oil is because that gives a beautiful oriental type flavor. But this oil has a fairly low smoking point, which means that you don't want to have the pan too hot because it's going to spoil that oil. So I'm going to put the oil in and then put the vegetables in straight away and just stir fry them, and then you'll get a good result. I have my pan on medium heat, so again I don't have it on high heat. And the reason for that is for the same reason as we've just explained. The natural moisture of the vegetables is released when you cook with medium heat. If you're on high heat, it sears the vegetables, and so we put in more fat and we put in more oil. Not necessary. So just on medium heat, I put the oil in. This is sesame oil, and that's there purely for flavor, really. Some celery, as well as some zucchini. And we've just cut them up into julienne pieces, but you can cut them however you like. Some carrot, as well as some red and green capsicum. And then you'll notice that we're also going to use some mung bean sprouts, or bean shoots as they're called in many shops today. You don't add those to your mixture as you're frying, because they really don't need frying, or you're going to finish up with little strings. And so I just stir them through at the end. These vegetables just need softening, and so we're just going to stir them, as you can see. And when they're crispy tender, then we'll stir the mung bean sprouts through. Now there are different types of mung bean sprouts. There are the baby ones and they're the mature ones, and these ones are the mature ones. The baby ones still have the bean on them. Now if you purchase those, or you prefer to use those, you would need to put them in with the vegetables because they still need cooking, where the mature ones don't. How's the sauce going?
Starting to boil now.
Starting to boil, that's good. Yes. It's important that food looks good. We do eat with our eyes, but it's also very important that our food is nutritious and that it has the appropriate amount of flavor that you enjoy. What you will find with our recipes that we have medium flavors. And so what you see us doing creates a medium flavor. If you want stronger flavors, we will tell you as we go through what you can add to increase the flavor if that meets your needs. This is starting to cook very nicely. It actually doesn't take very long. There are people, as we get older, who find that they can't eat the crispy, tender vegetables. And so if you wanted to soften these vegetables a little more for people with special needs, all you do is to put a lid on your saucepan or on your wok or on your fry pan, and you can control the degree of tenderness of these vegetables with the lid. We will not put a lid on today because we'd like them to be crispy tender. These are just about right. I'd say 1 more minute and this is right. And so it doesn't take very long to cook this. Cutting up takes a little while, but it's really worth it. Notice all these lovely colours. As I said, we eat with our eyes, but the colours also are very important when it comes to nutrient content. There are a whole range of natural substances. I'm just going to turn this down. There are a whole range of natural substances that are in plant foods that our Creator has put there. And they have a very protective effect when they are in your body. They have a very good antioxidant action. And so having colours not only looks good, but is actually very important nutritionally. And so at this stage, we've got our vegetables cooked. We're just going to put through the mung bean sprouts. If we had put them through at the beginning or added them at the beginning, we would have just had little strings there because the moisture content would have escaped and there's not a lot left. And so that's what it should look like. Just have those, just warm them a little. And we'll just put that aside and we'll have a look at the rice. There are many different types of rice that you can buy. I prefer to use brown rice. And you would know why, because that really is the most nutritious. It still has the fiber, it still has all the B vitamins and many of the minerals that are milled off when white rice is produced. And so I prefer to use brown rice. If that is new to you, I know many people who want to include brown rice in their diet. They start off by cooking some white and cooking some brown and mixing it together, so that perhaps family members are not going to object and say, oh, we don't like this. It actually has a very nice nutty type of flavour. And I'm sure that you will enjoy it when you follow this recipe. And all I've done to cook the brown rice, and we have already prepared it for you, is to use 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice and bring it to the boil. And then turn it right down very low so it is just simmering, so the water is just moving. Leave the lid on for 45 minutes and then turn it off. That's called the absorption method. But you can also use lots of water and have the rapid boil method. And so you can cook it however you like, but you do need to finish up with a grain that is nice and tender. Don't have it crunchy. It will take longer than white rice, but it is really worth it. It takes around 45 minutes instead of about 15 minutes, so it does take a little longer. You might say, well, I don't have that much time to cook brown rice if it's going to take that long. You see, you can freeze rice and any grains, and so you can perhaps cook half a packet, and then you can put some of it in the freezer for next time, and you've got it already cooked and it defrosts very quickly. You can put it in the microwave. If you're actually adding it to the vegetables, you can just put it there frozen and it will just defrost, and you'll have your rice. And so what we're going to do with the rice, and I have a bowl here. Thank you. How's the sauce? Is it going well? Oh, it looks lovely. And so we'll just move that aside, and I'm going to now add some seeds to the rice. There are many types of seeds available today. I love nuts and seeds, and you will notice in our recipes we do use them quite often. The type of fat that's found in nuts and seeds is very beneficial for heart health and also for the health of your arteries and many other organs in your body. And so we have dry roasted the seeds, and this is just a mixture that I've bought in the supermarket, but you can make up your own mixture. And we're going to put that through the rice, and we've called that seeded rice. So we'll just put the rice in here. Now this rice is nicely cooked, and all you need to do is to stir through these seeds. To dry roast nuts and seeds, you have your oven at 175 degrees or 180 degrees, and put your nuts or seeds on a dry oven tray. And for seeds it's about 5 minutes, for nuts 7 to 10 minutes, depending whether they're Brazil nuts or almonds or something small. And so let's add these seeds. Okay. So a lovely mixture of rice and toasted seeds. And so to dish up this recipe, yes, thank you. What you need in your kitchen is a Jade like I've got, who takes away the dirty dishes and brings you all the things you need. Okay. And so to serve this recipe, let's have a look. Put some rice on the plate. Then we're going to put some vegetables on top of that. And then the savoury sauce is going to go over the top of that again. And so some of these lovely stir-fried vegetables. Maybe just one more spoonful. Okay. And then we're going to have the sauce just nicely over the top. Thank you.
You want that one?
Yeah.
Take that.
Now you can let this sauce simmer for about 20 minutes, which will develop the flavour more should you wish for it to be like that. So in here we have the tender pieces, but you can have tofu. You can even put legumes in here if you choose to. And chickpeas would be very nice. And so this sauce is now just poured over the top. There we are. And here's our first recipe. I hope that when you try this at home that you will enjoy it. Thank you.